We are the promised people. We are the people who were promised for this promised land. Everybody worldwide. We are the promised people. We are the people. Yes, so welcome to the promised land.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our 7th episode of Breaking the Trance Sourcecast. Wow, so much is going on right now. I mean, we could have said that a few months ago, a year ago, a few years ago, but it really feels like the so muchness has accelerated, and for so many people. And I see it in a way in my own personal experience. There's so many factors, the handing over of the new guard in American politics is a big part of it, and all the things that are happening there, but also all around the world, what's going on in the geopolitical scene, and the ever increasing ubiquitousness of AI and all of that technology, and the acceleration there. And I know that I personally have been feeling a sense of unease increasing just because of all of these factors and everything moving so fast, and the news cycle just being like a fire hose. Just one thing that takes 3 minutes now used to absorb a whole week, of our attention, and we're just under such an incredible bombardment of things. And I've observed a lot of people feeling also anxiety ridden, depressed, worried, frustrated, angry, all kinds of emotions that have also increased drastically just recently, I feel, and I see, and I think it's safe to say that is true. And a lot of it, I think a lot of the themes that we've been picking up in terms of breaking the trance, and some of the themes, is anything sacred, and is this a mission impossible, and where are the people, and any number of the previous topics we have, they're all focused under this theme of breaking the trance. And what does that mean? What is breaking the trance? And what we've been so bold as to declare, which is that any of our attempts to heal the human situation, and to come to become a true we the people the world over, and we are in a globalized age. It's a whole new world that we're living in now, and I think we're having a hard time catching up with that. But that we're saying boldly, until we break the trance, our efforts are squandered and futile in many ways. It's not to say that there isn't importance to all the vast forms of raising awareness and activism and things that are going on, and I encourage that, and salute those of you who are, with all of your passion and goodwill for humanity and for the planet. I applaud you for being so selfless in your service to making things better. And so what we want, and what I want, is for your efforts to be liberated on a whole new level, by way of saying, as we said in another one of the episodes, pause, stop, step back here. Let's take a moment here to pull the VR goggles, as it were, off, to get out of the game in the way of being just immersed and engaged in it. And in those VR goggles, in the being entranced by all of the phenomena that's taking place and bombarding us and overwhelming us, to take that moment to pause and say, whoa, 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 there's something deeper going on here. And within the VR, I'm using VR as an analogy right now, but it really is like a virtual reality, as opposed to real reality, source reality, the promised land. That's the promised land that we're all after. In the VR space, we are sucked into a version of ourselves, a version of our community, a version of the world, a version of everything that's happening, that is by its nature part of the problem, that is by its nature a part of the trance. And In that space, we're so good. We're so practiced at pointing. That's the problem. Whatever, pick your problem, pick your favorite issue of the day or issues of the day or people that are issues of the day or parties or left or right, or you have at it. You know, all of the things that you want to say is the problem. That's the problem. They're the problem. And this is exactly, in a way, if we were to say that the trance has a sort of a will to sustain its reign in the background, you know, the last thing it wants is for us to see that, and what it really loves is for us to be all just sucked into the drama and battling it out and duking it out in that place. And that's why I just love. You know, I do this in my sessions all the time. I bring in the analogy of the movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. Great movie, but for its metaphorical value of this alien invasion. So the spoiler alert, guys, if you don't want to be have a spoiler, I'm sorry about that. But long story short, the aliens that have invaded planet Earth want us to fight them until we exhaust ourselves to death. That's how we lose, is by staying in the battle with the aliens, because they can just keep regenerating. In the analogy here, the aliens on the battlefield are all of these issues, all of these silo issues that we're fighting over here. These are all the aliens, as it were. But in the movie, they figure out that there's a main brain underneath. It happens to be in this movie under the Louvre in France. The main brain lives under there in hiding, and is the one that's able to regenerate all of the aliens ad infinitum, while we wear ourselves out and kill ourselves off in the battle. So the reason I love that is, you know, breaking the trance is akin to going after that main brain. And that's kind of like one of our big, there's a step back from all of the intramural fighting, the infighting between, not just within parties or wings of our political world and left and right and all those things. A step back, whoa, they're all on the same team. It's all part of the same trance. It's all part of exactly where we need to break out of. As seductive as it is to take the high ground and the righteous ground, and I'm going to fight the bad guys and that whole thing. Pause. This one I wanted to say, and we're just going to go for it. You know, sort of wing it and see where this takes us. But that's kind of the main thing that's on my mind and our minds in our conversations leading up to this. What does it take for humanity as a whole to snap out of that seductive battle and battles and go, wait a second, there's a much deeper nemesis in all of us, operating in the shadows of our own consciousness, in the background of our minds, and how do we call that out? Which was what we've been doing these 6 episodes, you know, and many other offerings that we've both done together and individually, calling out this. You know, if it's the single bracket space, that red zone down there at the bottom of the pad, it's that pulling it out from behind the field of vision into the field of vision. That's breaking the trance. That's going after the main brain under the Louvre in each of us. So we can all be true activists, empowered activists, by way of kicking this deep addiction, this malware that's implanted in us, that's holding us captive and wants us to be engaged in the VR. Let's get those goggles off, because that's the AI that no one's talking about. That's the age-old AI that is immemorial. It goes way back to the beginnings of language and consciousness and thought, and now we're seeing it accelerated and being embodied in the mechanics and the computers and the internet and all the things that we have that we now call AI. Where did it start? Well, that's what we've been calling out. So that's me punting the ball to you, Pops. If you want to take that and run, let's see where we go with this.
That's very well done, Nath. And I want to join you in just saying hi to all our wonderful human family across the planet. This is really addressed to the planetary human family, all of us. We're in this together in a global space. This is a global space. Global here means the source, entering the source of all narratives, all scriptures, all worldviews, all of our great first responders of the ages were attempting to open up the space. And we didn't have the markers to indicate before, even though they were struggling to see a difference between a derivative code software of the mind. It's so hard. It allows us to see. It makes us powerful to have information and narratives and disciplines and arts and sciences and human emotions and human relations and politics and governments and all that here. Under the sway, this is a powerful, empowering in this respect. But the nature of this software has malware, as the great teachers have seen, and that's what this line means. This cuts us off from a deeper access to reality, to being on the ground floor. And so this, finally getting the notational markers for when we're in this language, this software, where this world, this form of reality, this, as you say, the virtual reality, as you call it, Näthan, AI. We wouldn't want to call it AI because we think AI is just a subtext of the cyber logical computer space is AI, but that's the derivative from this. And so we've been living in that AI space. Why is it AI? Right? Artificial intelligence, because there's a deeper rational intelligence, organic, when we come into the zone to mind our minding, which means to step back. We're minding here, and we're good at the whole human family. You're right. But there's malware here. So, in terms of Moses, Jesus, Buddha, all these great names, what are they doing? They're saying there's an urgent issue facing the human genome, the human family, is that we're suffering because we're fragmented and shredded and severed from source. This is the main source of the disorders of being in the subtext here in AI. It's artificial because we decide, our wills decide what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what do I believe in, what do I take to be true, what is my narrative?
Truth, yeah.
You follow?
Yeah.
It's our will. That's important. So this is a malpractice of the will. It's a will virus, because that's what makes us interpret which story. Am I going to say Jesus is my Lord, or I'm of Mosaic persuasion, or Allah is the truth, or Buddha, or science, whatever it is? That's my will. Or I hold these truths to be self-evident. No, this truth holds us to be self-evident. This is the light of reason. This is the rational space. So as we said in the private, you did very well, Näthan, re-summing up some of the main themes in breaking the trance. And what you're saying is, this is like in the analogy to the movie, this is the brain, the software hidden under the surface that's running the show across the planet and for millennia. And our computer cyber logic, which is one derivative of that, and the cyber sapiens here, this is preventing us from being fully human, mature adults in the room, adult rational beings, right? And so what we're doing is saying, until folks, we can keep, we're brilliant and good people. We're not putting people down. We're people. But people here are not persons. They're not rational, awakened, critical thinkers.
Free.
This is free range. This is freedom. So when someone like Marley says we got to free ourselves from mental slavery, right? We're still colonized. If our minds are captured by an unconscious software at the reptilian level of the brain functioning so deep we can't see it, but it's running the show and we don't know it. And our great genius men and women of the ages are first responders to what's first, which is infinite. The infinite source is always calling. It's the light of logos. Use that word for whatever name you want to say. This is where we become adult humans, adult sapiens. Homo sapiens are still adolescent, and we've got to mature to adult logos sapiens, not Lego sapiens. So if we process our lives and our world and our love life and our politics and our human relations and our arts and sciences without being aware that we're laboring under a software that is malware, and it's got the human family captive, and our great teachers and scriptures are seeking to call it out and get us to somehow end up over here. And until we are persons, if you take the example from USA, and we're not American-centric, right? We're using it as a great lab. That the founders in that declaration were saying, well, what's the greatest call of the logos to all humans across the planet? It's not just the colonies. Is that whatever is holding us captive and eclipsing our dignity and freedom and independence We must separate. They're echoing all the great teachers: detachment, separation, deconstruction, letting it go, stepping back, whatever, right? Releasement, all the metaphors of making this crossing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the number one: become a people, become we the people. And what we saw is that this is a shredder. It's artificial intelligence, right? As great as it is in giving us information, the information is cut off from a deeper space of being well informed. When we're informed, we're zoning. This is a zoning. This is when we're intimate with being here, with reality. This is intimacy with reality. This is being severed. That's why it's artificial. And that means we're objectified. That means we're entities. And if we're entities, the great teacher says, no, that means you're like a subhuman. You never treat a person as an object. Why are you doing that to yourself and to others in this technology, which is running the show because you're not intending you're good people, but your wills are captured. You're not free will. And as Kant said, the greatest value in the universe, and out of it is a good will, a free will, for example. So what you're saying is somehow we have to help. In our last episode, we said, it looks like Mission Impossible. Because it's been millennia. If all the great geniuses and scriptures have been urging us to make a crossing, to migrate, here we're still immigrants. We're in a diaspora. We're still not to the homeland, or to homeland, if you want to play with it, right? Mm-hmm. We're not on home base. We're not in the land of the free. Land is not physical geography. It's mind land. It's heart land. It's a land of consciousness. It's a land of awakened adult sapiens. Right? So just because you hear the words Homo sapien doesn't mean sapien means wisdom. What is wisdom? Crossing into the light of reason, into the awakened mind. Become a critical thinker. Don't be embedded. Break the mental sleep. This is breaking the trance right here. Mm-hmm. This little arrow is indicating, wow, if I can step back somehow and realize I've been captured. I'm not a free being. I'm colonized. Colonized people can't be a free demos. So when you become a demos, you're putting source first. You're a source sapien. And that's what, for example, in the American call, but it's across the planet, all the great wisdom teachers, is unless we make this crossing and break this trance, this hold, of the malware on our lives, we're not going to be free beings and mature adult humans. And we're not going to have well-being. It's mental health. It's existential health. Because well-being, if we're cut off, we're ill. Our being is ill. And therefore, it's a disaster. And so furthermore, just to add on what you beautifully opened up now, I'm just trying to replay it in a way to capture another fast-forward trailer, a retro trailer. It's that what does this do? The shredder, it breaks into units, in Lego units and pieces. It breaks the people apart. We can't be we. We can't truly be connected. And even if we can have moments of feeling like, and declare it and post things on social media that we've got to be awake, we've got to do, this has been going on for centuries. But if you're still here, you're not really in the wisdom space. Mm-hmm. So this is we the people. Mm-hmm. And it's not just for the colonies, or not just for UK, or not just for Europe, or not just for Africa, or not just for Asia. It's all the people, right? This is the people place. And it's not bound by government, ideology, religion. And I was thinking about John Lennon's song a couple of days ago. I said, wow.
Imagine.
Right? Imagine. You remember what it says? You did a beautiful uncover of that. Imagine no country. Imagine no religion. Imagine none of these borders. Right? You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Day we're going to get there, you know? Mm-hmm. So, being a person is the first primary work before us. Become adults. Which is rational beings with the lights turned on and critical awareness and heads-up mindfulness. That's a person.
And I want to say something that keeps coming up for me, because I think one of the potential pitfalls of seeing it in this light, which actually you've already addressed in the design of this hologram, it can seem like what we're saying is everyone's down here, right? And there's almost like this black and whiteness to it, like either you're here or you're here, and that's not the truth. In fact, all that goodness and all of that wisdom that does come through people, and I mean, we do love and we do care for each other, and we do excuse me, amazing things, and have amazing breakthroughs and amazing works of art and songs and movies and all the amazing beauty. It's not like it's not that we don't have access to that space, and it's also
here it is, right, Näthan, you're right. Here it is, right, all around you. We couldn't do this without that.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to just help people see, that just in case you might be slipping into, well, that sounds pretty lofty up there. No, that's your home. That's your home ground. That's where you're most at home. That's the most natural place. It's not this like hierarchy. It's much more that we in a way we are already in the zone space, but why can't we feel it? Why are we feeling, when we're feeling emotions like depression and despair and feeling lost, feeling alone, all of those things, all anxiety, these are all symptoms of something very real that's preventing us from being in our homeland, our own land. It's not some lofty, high ideal that we're talking about. We're talking about home base, your home base, our home base, which is unique to all of us and yet somehow shared in all of our diversity and all of our different stages. This is not about information that's going to get us up to that zone and having to have any specific education. No, this is the most natural thing there is. This is the flow of nature. This is the most, in your very body, and the way your body works and the way your brain works. It's like what's happening is we're grinding ourselves down because something is also happening, and that's what we're trying to say. So I wanted to just interject that for a moment, Dad. So, and I see you're already addressing it in the next page, just to make sure that you're not accidentally or by default saying, well, I guess I'm here and I have to get up there somehow. Let that go. You're already here. You're already here. But what we're saying is, how do we sustain that?
To get critical and let that go, it shows that you're already in the zone.
Yes. Thank you.
This is blocking. This is
been dying to say that.
No, and this brings it up. So this is just a distillation of this.
Yeah.
So breaking the trance for all humans, excuse me, is the first order of business. Because once you begin to become aware of the science of the unified field of being, of reality, by whatever name, here we're calling it the logosphere, but call it what you wish. It's the infinite field. It's own base. It's home base. It's Christ-based. It's Allah-based. Yahweh-based. All of this is all here. This is the field. These are all named for the infinite unifying force. And this is where the meeting point of all of the shredded people. If the people are in their silos here, they're not yet we. But this is extremely powerful. Every point here in the field that's not blocked off by this artificial intelligence, this software, derivative software, is a PowerPoint of the infinite. As Blake would say, in every grain of sand.
And that's the power that we need if we're going to overcome the civil wars, so to speak. To use it, everything, it's all civil war down in this space. In other words, if we're in this space, all there is ideologies and opinions and perspectives. I or we, the community, us, our worldview, our religion, our vision for the country, or whatever it is, and in that space, as long as we're wanting to. As long as we don't break the trance, all that we can have in this space is warring factions, the shredder, you keep calling it. All we can do is go at each other, and then it becomes, in one way, shape, or form, whose ideology wins, who's going to be the bully on the playground. That's not the promised land. That's not our home base. That's not peace. That's not we the people. The only way to tap the true power that everyone knows is there, and we're trying, and people are raising their voices, but you can hear in the raising of the voice, you can feel the misguided attempt to try and make things better, and it almost comes across more as a sort of panic and a franticness, and ironically, we can raise our voice from a disempowered place. The true power is in breaking the trance, where each of us becomes a PowerPoint of that zone, and that's where we can be we the people, and it's not any race or religion or nation overpowering the other. We know that. That's never going to end well. It's all of us overcoming the mental slavery, which is not just mental, it's being slavery. It's slavery on all levels in the sense of being in
Existential,
servitude
yes,
to this
yes.
deep malware. That's the essence of everything that we're saying here. And that's what we got to do. And it's actually the best news you could ever possibly hear because, man, to go and attack all the aliens out there on the battlefield, all of the symptoms, just makes everybody want to throw their arms up and just say, fuck it. I can't do this. I don't want, it's just never, it's impossible. And that's where the despair comes in and the dread and the depression and all that stuff that people are feeling for good reason. It's because we don't realize we really do have the power, but it's right here at home. It's right here at Ohm. We keep calling it Ohm, but Ohm is the field.
That's
It's
right.
another name.
Nathan, what you're saying brings up a theme that's very much in the air right now in terms of AI. And there's certain narratives out there. There are two things I'd like to bring up. First, I'd like to talk about this, and I want to come back and say, why is it that all of these competing narratives are competing and vying here? That they're in the same boat. They're in the same. I'd like to bring that up, but come back to that in a moment. But right now, there's been a long issue. Is a computer a person? Does a computer have a mind? And right now, there's almost a sense that as a technology and technocracy and the computer wins, and the AI is going to dominate who it is to be a human object, a mechanism, objectified humans, not a Homo sapiens, not a Logos sapiens, but Lego entities. It's subhuman, it's pre-human.
Objects, machines.
Yeah, an object, right? And right now you might say, what's the biggest drama of the last centuries, but peaking now? It's organic intelligence, humans, over objectified mechanized intelligence, artificial intelligence. Are we AI entities? This is very serious what I'm saying. Does everyone know how to distinguish between the powers and limits of cyber logic and cyberspace under this space, and what it means to be objectified in the space, and why, in effect, we've been living in that objectified space for millennia? This is not new. Computers is just a way to bring it out embarrassingly into the open. Are we computer sapiens?
Yeah.
Or are we a person?
Yeah.
So the battle of the planet now for the human family across the planet. This is why everyone across the planet has to pay attention. Are you a person, a free agent, beyond the possibility of objectified, a sacred being? Or are you an entity, an object, a cyber entity, a cyber sapien? Are you a cyber sapien or a logos kid? Are we rational beings? That's what we're saying. And rationality here is in a derivative form of reason, a computer reason.
Right.
An objectified, informationized reason. And we informationize ourselves, each other. And objectified, and it leads to profound fallout of widespread disorder.
Yeah.
It's a deeper medical diagnostic. This is important. When you ask, why is it so important to break the trance? Because we're suffering all kinds of pathologies and dysfunctions. Why? Because of this. This has got us. It's a shredder. It's polarizing. It's fragmenting. We can't be we. We can't be one nation under Lego. Because this is the divider in chief. It's not one rogue, misguided leader, strong man or woman across the planet who is the divider in chief. This is the divider in chief. And you can't, in the USA version, a more perfect union. No, you couldn't get a more perfect disunion than being trapped here.
Yeah.
It breaks everything in it. This is a perfect disunion. If you want a more perfect union, right? Somehow you've got to see the disunion, the shredder, where everything is polarized and broken in perpetual civil war across the planet, and all of the sites, and inside each person, there's a civil war between this version of the self and that version.
You know, I want to call, and just as a very important thing to keep in mind with what you're saying when you say rational beings, these words, I want to once and for all address this. These words of rational, reason, and logic have been bastardized and cut off from their true meanings, and then diminished into, well, that rational, oh, that's just heady, or that's just, in the mind and not the body, and we're grossly misunderstanding and associating reason with the abuse of reason, which is what that lower space is, what that the AI intelligence, which is way older than computers. It's we're the generators of AI, artificial intelligence. Humans are well before technology took over the external, So logic, think of the words, take back the words logic, reason, rational, mind, take those words back, take those concepts back, exalt them to their home meaning, their original meaning, because it's like another way of saying sense, reality, sanity. It's like we want sense. We want things to make sense. That's what we're talking about. When something makes sense is because it rings true. You're actually ringing the bell of truth, of reality. That's beyond facts and opinions and interpretations and all of the noise that goes down in that lower version of the mind.
Yeah.
There's a higher version of the mind that includes all of our human experience, our feelings, our body, so I just really want to, and I'll probably say that again and again, because I've been witnessing for a while how much those words can trip us up and be hang-ups for some people. So
there's a phobia of the mind here by many people, mind phobia. Right? And what you just said, Nath, is that this language has copied and downloaded these noble words, like language, double bracket language.
Yeah.
The word in the beginning is the word, not our single bracket artificial word. Reason, the light of logos. What is logic? It's the science of logosology, source science, the light of reason. What is that? Being. Reality, source of all. Can't have it.
Love. It's love.
That's love. This is the
Capital
place
L,
of union and communion and love. We the people. Imagine when we finally mature from this version, this downsized, as colonized people here. We're colonized in ways we don't understand. And the first order of business for all humans across the planet, all of our human family, that's to whom we're speaking, folks. Everyone across. We're in the same family. Whatever your persuasion or dissuasion or disorientation or whatever it is, doesn't matter. This is what counts. Let's migrate. We're immigrants. Who are the immigrants? Who are displaced and homeless? All the people. So how do you come home finally? We're wandering and lost in the desert and captive. And we need to migrate home and to become citizens of a planet.
Migrate in place, migrate right where we are.
In place. That's exactly right. That's what this brings out. Right where you are. You step out of, let go of the binder that's holding us back in captivity. This is the captive mind. But stepping back from that, which is the greatest act, that's breaking the trance. And all of our great wisdom teachers are saying, you got to find a way to do this, folks. And then you find yourself there already. It's in place. We're always in the place. All of this alienation is still in place. And if we can get out of the way of this malware, that gives us a lot. Yes, it gives us language, reason, sense, all of that, but in an artificial, premature sense. And what you just said is so let's wake up the mind. Let's not be mind phobic. Let's use our mind. We have to be mindful. That's when we become a full human being. Mindfulness is well-being.
Yes.
And meaning, what the meaning in life. If the lights are out here, as Camus is saying, and there's no reason, there's no raison d'etre, no reason to be. What is a reason to be? Reason is a raison d'etre.
That's a good point that you're bringing out, because I mean, that lower space, when I use the word insane, which would be like irrational in the deep sense, that place is absurd. There's a real sense of nihilism and absurdity that we are. I think honestly, the truth is we're scared to death of facing that part. But there could be nothing more liberating than going, whoa, and taking that bold step that many amazing philosophers have done along the way in their own ways. But I think we're doing it in kind of a deeper level now to see, because you can say, oh, everything is nihilistic and absurd and just stay in the absurd space. That's how we're saying. That's what a lot of philosophers have done, sort of called out the absurdity and say, well, you're just going to have to find a reason to be, but we're saying something different by calling out the absurdity and the nihilism, meaning just the pointlessness. Like, what's the point? I think a lot of people, to my original point on this episode, I think that's what I'm sensing in people right now. There's this real despair, which is to say, what's the point? And that's a form of nihilism, but that's just the first step. It's actually kind of good that we're getting to that point, but we're saying, no, don't stop there. Yeah, there is no point within the trance. We've got to step back from the trance because there is no point here. But that's when you discover your true innate meaning. You know, that's where the innateness of your reason to be is there. And that's what happiness is. And that's what we're all looking for. Imagine everybody finding that. Do you think we'd be going at each other's throats? Do you think we would want to, rape nature and cause all this destruction and kill each other? Of course not. That's all symptomatic of us being profoundly desourced from our true sense of being.
Well said. Well said.
So when people say, "Oh, money is the root of all evil," or "greed is the root of all evil," no, that's a myth. That's again, you're buying into the alien on the battlefield, the symptom. No, money as we know it, the way that it's used and abused in our culture, and the economic injustice and unfairness and imbalance, those are symptomatic of this trance. And we mistakenly place our sense of meaning and purpose and value in that cultural space across the globe in all different variations. And so we're not really, no, it doesn't matter how much we attain. Greed means that you're trying to fill something that can never be filled, no matter how much. Break the trance, step back, mind your minding, come home, migrate in place, all the things that we've been saying today. That's where we find our true meaning and value.
This is so important. And you can have all the riches. You could be the wealthiest oligarch is poor. Jesus called it that. Mm-hmm. It's harder for a trillionaire to gain access to the source than it is for what.
For a camel to go through the eye of a needle or something.
Yeah, whatever.
Put a needle in a camel's eye or whatever.
That's right. Like that. Because you're so committed to now your stuff here. That's not wealth. Money, riches, single bracket money is devalued. If you could find $1 here in the Christ, in the God space, a God dollar, a Buddha dollar, a yoga dollar, wow. And our great thinkers like Nietzsche, beyond good and evil, right? Transvaluation. You've got to go into a deeper valuation. Mm-hmm. The real value he's talking about. This is false AI, artificial value. Give me some stuff. I'm empty over here because I'm cut off from me. And I'm trying to fill it. And I've got more likes, I've got more money, I've got more fame, I've got more stuff. Whatever. That's not wealth. A person can have no money but be wealthy. Jesus understood that. Buddha understood that. That's logonomics, not legonomics. Pieces and little bits of whatever, and you can have a lot of a big deal. I'm not impressed with a lot of riches here. Am I impressed with someone who is standing in the love? Wow. And we're all there. We're sacred. We're boundlessly, deeply valuable. That's what sacred humans are. That's our noble human rights, life, liberty, well-being. What's the pursuit of happiness now? If it's not here. Mm-mm. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Well, happiness is well-being. So this is pursuit of happiness. I want to be fulfilled. I'm trying to fill myself up with, I got a lot of bucks. I got a lot of likes. I got a lot of fame. Who cares? Artificial values is not true value. So you're going to have a life crisis. The implosion of meaning.
Yeah.
And see the emptiness of all of this. The great teachers knew that.
Yeah.
I'd rather be wealthy than rich.
Well said.
I'm sorry. No, I'm glad. I'm not sorry.
Yeah, don't be sorry. That's amazing.
I'm not sorry. Yeah. I'm not looking for likes. I'm not trying to make it into pop culture. I'm not trying to get into social media. That's why we have source media. That's what we're doing. What is source media? Right? Think of Gandhi talking about how do you move the greatest power? What is it? Satya power, truth force. Logos power, word power, Christ power, Buddha power. That's power. That's power to the people. Satya power. And as long as we're here, we're going to be impotent, unproductive in the deepest sense.
And the Gandhi experiment is a very good example. And and Gandhi remains, since I saw the movie when I was in 8th grade, I did a report on Gandhi. He remains one of my ultimate heroes. But you know, in the Gandhi story, you see, you know, they liberated India from the British Empire, and then they broke into Lego countries, Pakistan and India, and then it was, you know, fraternal war there, and that is another perfect example. So you can kick out the external oppressor, but if we don't get the internal oppressor, we're just back in the same loop.
This is huge now.
You know, it's huge.
That's why the USA example, looking at that, again, we're not really only concerned about USA, but across the planet. That's why USA failed to get started, because we didn't do the homework. The opening of the Declaration, whatever codes, conventions bring us and bind us one to another, if it violates this, our dignity and independence and freedom, we must separate. But yes, separate from the British, the external oppressor, the monarchy. Okay, good. Yes, but how about the inner monarchy?
It's come right back around. It comes right back around.
Yeah, people are saying we're coming right back around. You're right. It didn't work. So the Holy Experiment for 250 years in the American example, and we're using an example. We're not primarily, we're looking at the whole human family. You just brought in India, right? You can go to the Middle East, and you can go to Gaza and Israel. You can go anywhere.
Anywhere.
You know, Ukraine and Russia. You can go all the way. You're going to find the same repeating virus showing up.
Yeah.
You know, but I may get in trouble for saying this now, but the USA Holy Experiment is about to get started. We did part A, get rid of the external colonizer, but then we have to get rid of the internal. We haven't done that. We just went on. Oh, no, folks, you didn't do it. So we've been living in a junta. The original version of USA is still not here. It's still not turning on one nation under logos indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Plato said, until there's wisdom in the culture, there will not be justice in the society. This is wisdom here. We're not a wise couple. We're not, Homo sapiens are the wise species. We're not wise yet. We're still adolescent. And we've got to grow up now. Not just in America. We're using that example again. We're not choosing sides. By the way, this is something I hope we can go into the next, because our time is running out. But whenever different narratives you can have science versus religion here. You can have one political party over the other here. You can have racism or anti-racism. You can have different polar views. You can have a Big Bang or Genesis, right? You can have all the polarities here, but they're in the same code. They're in the same boat. If this is the Titanic, then even the opposites are still not getting into the deeper space.
Exactly.
Into Noah's Ark. This is Noah, K-N-O-W-E-R, the awakened, mindful human being. This is the new Noah's Ark. And this is the
Titanic.
The perennial, millennial, hopeless ship that is not going to sail. It's going under. And the virus is getting stronger across the planet. And the cyber threat now of becoming artificial humans, technocracy dominating all the humans. You might as well get a chip. There's a chip in our minds already.
Yeah.
This is a chip in our minds.
Yeah.
And we got a chip on our shoulders too. We've got to get over this now.
Yeah.
Because our human nature is at risk now. We've got to see a person is not a cyber sapien, a techno sapien, an object, not a robot, not reptilian sapien. We're human. That's what we're saying. Break the trance, end the cycle of violence and malpractice and meltdown that's been going on over and over for millennia. That's all we're saying.
Yes. Well, I think that's a perfect place. Wow. So the experiment today was to just kick it off and see where we go. I can't even believe how
you're the troublemaker.
we covered.
You opened all of these points out. I just responded to you. You know, I think we want to go. We're aiming for a limit of 40 minutes,
which we're literally right there. So it's perfect timing. And again, guys, I hope you can feel the inclusiveness of this across party lines, across national lines, across any kind of artificial borders that we've constructed.
In the USA example, all the people across the USA, we love you. We want to come together. This is a time for the most perfect minimum. Finally, Not
Yeah.
here. We didn't do it here.
And
This is the
across the
time to be we
planet.
the people, all of us,
Yeah.
we the people, all for Canada, for UK, for all of Europe, Australia, Asia, South America, Africa. All our beautiful people come together now.
Hmm.
Does that a Beatles song, Come Together Now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
That's a call to come together now, we the people here.
Yeah.
According to not nationalism, not nationality, not religion, not gender, none of that. That these dividers. A noble human being is beyond all of those fragmentations of ideologies and derivative scriptures and religions and belief systems and all of that. When you become a person in the noble sacred space, that's when we shine in our power and our beauty.
Yeah.
And that's what we're calling across the planet. We have time to come together.
Hmm.
We're in a global space now. We're in a global world. The planet as a whole is together now. These are the new colonies. We've got to get and we're colonized. It's time to come together, people. Please.
Yay. All right. This is we're gonna pick this up next time on the next one and go deeper into some of the themes that came out
Again,
here.
we're speaking to everyone across the planet, our whole human family, and we feel with a passion we've got to really come together now. So please join us again. And if you can do a session with Näthan, if any of you are moved to have in a small group or individually coaching from Näthan
Or
as
us.
part of his practice, pardon me?
Or us, you know.
Or us, I'll be
Yeah.
happy to do that too. Näthan gives a link, and he is developing his practice further. He's a master, a life coach in the code education. This is new. We never had the code before. The code markers. They were there always, but never called out by all of our great teachers. Not this is new, and unless we get the code shift, and that's where Näthan. Yoga is not here. Yoga is here. His music, brilliant lyrics and songs and performances from the source. And these we don't call them podcasts, we call them source casts. We're not trying to get into social media in this space, but to bring a deeper, open space of source media, source casts. That's what we're doing here. So if you'd like to get coaching on this, please respond to Näthan. And
I would love that.
Important endorsement, Näthan.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dad. I appreciate that. All right. We'll see you next time, guys.
Okay, bye. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.